Recently, we received a press release from a well-known organization claiming it was instrumental in making the Los Angeles City animal shelters, quote, no-kill. Now, we've spoken about the term no-kill before, both on the air and privately, and whenever it comes up, I have to say we get skeptical, for sure. We think it's a subjective idea, that it is susceptible to slanting, can be based upon tricky counting and shady statistics. Fortunately, our friend and colleague, attorney Bob Ferber, lives and works in and around Los Angeles, and I'm going to guess he has a few opinions on this topic. After all, we all want to get to a place where no adoptable animal is euthanized, right? So we want facts, and facts are in short supply these days. Bob Ferber is a former animal cruelty prosecutor in Los Angeles and conceived of and helped develop the LA Animal Cruelty Task Force decades ago. Bob, define no-kill.
Well, that's the issue. Is what is no-kill? I think that it's important to go back historically where the term started. The term no-kill, Lori, came about a couple of decades ago, I believe, when it was commonplace around the country for shelters to be killing, literally in this country, hundreds of thousands, in fact millions, of dogs and cats, many of which, if not most, were adoptable animals. And there were many excuses that the shelters were giving, many reasons. Some of them were good reasons why an animal was put to sleep. But in most cases, animals were being killed for no good reason. These were adoptable animals. And so there was I would call it maybe a political movement. It wasn't organized. But around the country, animal activists and lovers were saying, we need to have no kill. That's a goal. And there were some national organizations that labeled that said this is our goal in our city or in our state, that we want to be no kill. It was a very admirable effort. The problem with it is that the term has evolved, that we still use that term no kill. And as you pointed out, in L.A., we had a well-known organization, a respectable organization, announce that L.A. is no kill. And right after that happened, I got calls from friends of saying, is that really true? Is it really no kill? Are they not killing any animals at all? And in fact, I can tell you, Lori, that even at the local shelter where I volunteer here, the staff has now been trained that when people come in, they tell people when they bring an animal in, they relinquish an animal for whatever reason, or they find an animal in the street, the staff automatically says, we want you to know that we're not no-kill. And conversely, Lori, people come in all the time into the shelter saying, are you no-kill?
Yeah.
And the confusion lies in that there is no such thing as no-kill. If you take that plain meaning of the word no-kill to somebody, that means no animal gets killed. Well, Lori, you said it in the introduction before I started speaking. What we want is no adoptable animal to be killed. And the problem with this term no-kill is it doesn't include that. So it leads people to believe that no-kill means that no animal will ever be killed. And when you talk to somebody, like somebody walks into the lobby of a shelter with a stray animal and says, are you no-kill? The shelter can mean that, look, we do everything we can. If we're not overcrowded, if we have people coming in and they want this dog, we won't kill it. But realistically, some of the situations, an animal will be killed. And we don't have a real term for that. Some shelters are now using the term low kill. But that also doesn't really say what people want. I think what you said is so important. We want all adoptable animals not to be killed.
But wait, Bob, but that too is misleading, because how do you define adoptable? If a shelter defines no kill by not euthanizing any adoptable animals, then doesn't no kill depend on how the shelter defines adoptable? I mean, is an ear infection or an eye infection or an upper respiratory tract infection on a dog or cat, is that
Absolutely.
treatable?
You hit the nail on the head. That is the crux of the problem, is that, when you say no kill, let's assume that let's say no kill of all adoptable animals. Then we get to what you just pointed out. What is adoptable? You and I and many of your listeners can think of examples, a dog that has been fighting for food on the street for months, and then comes in the shelter, and they put the food dish down, and they do this so-called behavior test. And the dog, when they put the food down and then try to take it away, the dog growls or tries to bite the person. Oh, the dog is food aggressive. It's dangerous. We'll put it to sleep.
Right, but the dog was starving on the street for 2 weeks.
Yes, come on. What you would expect if you were a human being on the street and you had been struggling for food every meal, and then somebody serves you a sandwich for the first time in 6 months, and then they take it away from you, you may even bite them. So there's so many examples.
And you could say the same thing, Bob, for cats or feral cats. I know shelters who kill any and all feral cats that are turned in, or the cat doesn't even have to be feral. They'll kill the cats because the cats are simply shy or scared.
Lori, the problem is worse with cats, because cats by nature, it takes longer for them to adjust, and just about any cat that's been on the street, I don't care how friendly that cat eventually is, they're going to be scared and nervous, you're right, and they're going to scratch and bite maybe. And there are countless examples in every shelter where an animal that some people will say is adoptable and other people will say not. The decision is left up to shelter workers. And when we talk about cats, historically, and from my own experience doing this for over 40 years, shelter workers are typically ignorant about cat behavior. They know very little. They know much more about dogs. So just when that cat comes in the shelter, they're not even equipped to judge if this cat really is adoptable.
Right.
And what they do is they jump to conclusions that this cat is not adoptable, and then it becomes killed. And going back to the term no kill, a shelter can say we are no kill because we're not killing any adoptable animals. But when you go back, well, wait a minute, but you killed this cat because it hissed after being on the street 6 months, or you killed this dog that is recovering from major surgery and growled at a person and it didn't even bite. Or growled when you took food away. You're absolutely right, Lori. And this is the problem with this term, is that what it really means is not no kill. It means no kill of the animals that we at the shelter have decided are adoptable. And the decision of what is adoptable, this is a real difficult issue, because some shelters have responded by coming up with behavior tests. And they rely on that behavior testing to determine if an animal is adoptable. And one of the parts of that test, in fact, is to put a food dish in front of a dog and then take it away and see if the dog will let you do it. I think that's outrageous that that's part of a test.
Yeah.
You know, the topic that we're discussing about what is no kill, people should understand that depends upon the individual shelter workers in every part of our country. They're making the decision as to what animals are adoptable and what aren't.
Right.
Unfortunately, there are other shelters that say, well, the animal's been here for 3 weeks and we haven't found a home for it. We're going to put it to sleep. And that's a reality in shelters all over the country.